Bueno,
Okay.
pues buenos días, tardes a todas, a todos y a todes. Muchas gracias por continuar aquí. Encabezamos ya la última sesión de esta mañana aquí en el Auditorio Terneras. Me presento yo, mi nombre es Javier Andaluz, soy el responsable de Clima y Energía Ecologistas en Acción. Llevo muchos temas antinucleares también, entonces estoy muy encantado de dar la bienvenida a Günter Hermeyer, un compañero antinuclear alemán que desde principios de los años 80 ha tomado parte en diferentes luchas antinucleares dentro de Alemania. Fue miembro de la Junta de la Iniciativa Local contra el Cementerio Nuclear de Gorleben, también de la red Uranium Network, y apoya luchas internacionales contra la minería de uranio. Ahora está ocupado con la campaña No nuclearizar el clima o Don't nuke the climate. Así que le cedo la palabra y muchas gracias a todos por estar aquí y a ti por venir, Günter.
Okay, gracias. Yeah, just to give you an idea where I'm from, it's the northeastern part of Germany, and there was a proposed nuclear waste dump site pointed out in the end of the 70s. They wanted to build a nuclear waste dump, a nuclear reprocessing plant, and a nuclear power plant there. Nothing of it is there at the moment, so I guess we did a pretty good job in the last 40 years. It took us 40 years. And sure, we are still busy with it. The situation is in Germany now, they are looking for a different place now, thank you, for the high-level radioactive waste. We have 113 containers with high-level radioactive waste standing there in the open. There's nothing in the ground. So that's my background, busy with all this stuff. But now we have a different situation in the world with a threat of the climate issue. And that's why we started this campaign a few years ago. This is not good. How can you? You cannot read it, huh? How can we lift this up? Is that possible? No.
No. Yeah. No, because
Or maybe leave it like this.
It's the presentation.
Okay, that's the presentation. Now you have to. It's all now.
All of them.
Okay.
we got of the fonts, the letter fonts is
Some of them are
bigger
listed.
here than in your original PowerPoint,
So-
so it's out of places in the slide.
Just talk.
See
I'll
that?
fix it.
Yeah.
Okay. Put the first one on. Put the first one on.
Okay.
Sorry for that. So we have this nuclear threat because of climate change. It's coming from different directions. The main direction is the International Atomic Energy Agency in Vienna. They have go on this picture in their paper. It's called Nuclear Power and the Paris Agreement, and you see the red. Can you see that one? Yeah, the red is where they put themselves in terms of carbon emissions. So you only have the hydro, then you have the nuclear, and then you have the wind. That's where they put themselves. And we are working with, next one. With this, it's a scientist from the Netherlands. And we say carbon emissions from nuclear is from 88 to 146 grams per kilowatt hour. So this is a totally different story than the IAEA and other pro-nuclear people put themselves, because they sure try to put themselves as low as possible in terms of carbon emissions. We are busy at COP meetings every year since 5 years now. And always also the IAEA is highlighting the role of nuclear power. And as you can see here, this is all, I just put some words of the pro-nuke guys here so that we can see what they are putting out. Another thing is the nice nuclear innovation clean energy future. That's a joint venture, you could say, from Canada, Japan, US, and other partners like Argentina, Poland, Russia, Romania, and the Arab Emirates. They want to put up two new nuclear power plants, and they expect more to join in, all in connection with the climate issue. There's another, the World Nuclear Association, Agneta Rising. She's always busy at the COP and trying to promote nuclear power. That happened to us in Katowice last year also. And I don't know if you can read down the bottom. To achieve this, we will require the construction of 1,000 gigawatt new nuclear capacity. That's about 800 new reactors, 800 new reactors in the world. That's their perspective. I mentioned that yesterday already. As for the German people, we had a letter from the Polish scientists and officials to rethink the phase out of nuclear power in Germany. And yeah. The next thing is the International Energy Agency. They had a meeting in Prague 2 weeks ago, that was. We may need all the options to reduce CO2 emissions, as our challenge is being incredible and immediate. The immediate thing is very important because this IPCC report is mentioning that we need to really act within the next 12 years. Otherwise, we will have more very serious problems in connection with climate change. And we think if we only take care of this immediate, then it's not possible for nuclear power, because when we look to the nuclear power plants that are being built in like Hinkley Point or in Olkiluoto, Finland, they are far over time and far over budget. So this is another statement from the IAEA conference, 500 billion investment for more to keep up the nuclear capacity. The next thing is the lifetime extension. It's what's happening in France also, and I mentioned it yesterday. There are voices in Germany, within Germany, to extend lifetimes. And I also mentioned the RWE company. The last reactor from them should be shut down in 2020, in the end of 2020. And they want to do a fuel change 4 months before the shutdown. So this is something that amazes us a little bit. Why are they going to do that? This is a bit, you cannot read it. I also mentioned yesterday the United Nations Economic Commission for Europe. That's interesting because they made a paper. It's called Redesigning the Uranium Pathway. The next one is better. Helping entrance into the uranium sector. This is the interesting part in this paper. And also, I would like to have one example on that. That is a special mission to the Mukunji River project. That's a project in the south of Tanzania. There is a so-called Selu Game Reserve. It's about the same amount as the state of Switzerland. It's a huge piece of the Tanzanian state. And there was a meeting in 2015 in St. Petersburg, because it's a UNESCO heritage site. And at that meeting, they took out a tiny little part out of that heritage site in the south. And now there is a explored uranium site. So with that, colleagues of mine got busy with the UNESCO too, because there is a democratic structure before the UNESCO meeting. So we went there and had our talks there and shared that. And they are trying to get into Africa more and more with the background of the International Energy Agency. They put up a legal base with the government to be ready for uranium mining. And this Mukunji River project in special is, they had an environmental impact assessment for an open pit mine. mostly they did that themselves, the company, and it's not very well checked by the authorities. And now they want to skip that into an in situ mining project without a different environmental impact assessment. In situ was what Leona was mentioning before. It's like fracking. They pump chemicals and water in the ground, and then they, with that, the uranium is getting out of the stone, and then they pump it up. So this is also something we are doing in connection with this campaign. We support local groups in Africa and all over the world, also Australia. And it's very important to bring that together because it's again starting in Europe. It's again starting with the officials like the International Energy Agency and all those ones I mentioned before. So this is, to me and to us, it's quite a big story, and that's why I came here, or why we came here to. I just wanted to give you a little bit background, but most important is to share and exchange information, and maybe different people of you are working on this issue in one or another way. I don't know. So this would be an important thing to exchange and see what we can do. Another thing that I didn't mention here is the Euratom Treaty that's still alive in Europe, and that we are also starting to campaign this year. We expected to have a little gap maybe to get into maybe the thing renegotiated because of the Brexit, and it's also written in the German government contract. So this was the South Tanzania Sales Game Reserve. Like I said, there are many other countries. The pro-nuclear people are busy. And there's another threat. I put this a little bit generation gray. This is some of us, you know. There's the young generation. We had this nuclear threat that we were really went against when we were younger. This younger generation, they have the climate threat. And within this climate threat, there are, for them, different possibilities, and for some of them, there's the possibility of nuclear power, like green energy. So this is something that's happening in Germany. You might know the young lady from Sweden, Greta Thunberg. This is a pro-nuke organization in Germany. They giving out these postcards, Greta Go Nuclear, it says. And I translate this for you because it's in German. The most important or most effective weapon against climate change is a nuclear power plant. That's what it says. So these people are busy trying to get a hold of the young kids to make them pro-nuclear. So this is what's happening. So yeah, we are trying to inform them in a way that they are really informed. Yeah, well. Again, International Atomic Energy Agency, happening in October this year, climate change and the role of nuclear power. Or an international conference. What we are doing, we will also have a conference on the other side of the road. And it's not the schedule, and it's not set yet, but we are working on it. It will happen, that's sure. The small modular reactors, they are also proposed by the pro-nukes. When we meet them in a climate conferences, they say, "Oh yeah, we are not, we don't agree with the old type of nuclear power, but there's a new way of nuclear power, and this will eat up all our waste. We don't have to have uranium mines anymore because we extract it out of the sea. This way, you know, and." That's why they say this will be the key for the future energy. The reality is that this is not new. The nuclear industry is working on these things for more than 40 years and trying to get some solution on that. They didn't succeed yet. And we also mentioned yesterday for that to go on, because nuclear power economically never functioned. They need money again. And this will be our money again if we let them go through with that. This one I really liked. Any plant you haven't built yet is always more efficient than the one you have built. That was a word in the 50s from Admiral of the nuclear industry, 57. Another important thing is in terms of the economics of nuclear power. If you see, for example, the solar panels, they made within 20 years, we are able now to produce 1 kilowatt hour for 2 to 4, 6 cents, depends on where they are. The new nuclear power plant that's going to be built in Hinkley Point is guaranteed 30 cents for 30 years. And it's, the English government is not denying that it's for the submarines they need in connection with the civil use of nuclear power. So that's another thing that's very important and that we are putting in our information. It's a military and so-called civil use of nuclear power. It will never work in a normal market and economic ways. This is, there's a guy, Tony Seba is his name, he's from California. He's working on the economic issue. And he's, in his book that he wrote, and this is a little positive thing, saying that we are within the next 5 and 10 years, it will go very much down with the nuclear industry because the other ones, renewables are rising that much in way of economics. But we still want to be busy with it because of the public money the nuclear industry is running for. So, yeah, what we are doing is international networking, and special also with people that are coming to the COP meetings. There are many different indigenous people, like Leona we met there, and also people from Africa and all over the world. Because if we have more nuclear power, we will have more uranium mining, we will have more waste, and we all know where all that will end up, mostly in countries that are not well taken care of, like Africa. And so this is why we are, would like to extend this campaign, go more international, and connect. We have on our website, there's a scientist appeal. I don't know if you know the Friday for Future generation. They have also, then it very fast happened that there was a parent for future. It also very fast happened that there was a scientist for future. And these scientists for future, they have a, in their scientist appeal, it was within 2 weeks, it was signed from 25,000 international scientists. So this is a very great support, and like I say, we connect more with them and also get more scientists to sign our appeal against nuclear power, because that's would like to present at the next COP in Chile in December to the UN Secretary. The only support so far we have is from our Minister of Environment, Svenja Schulze. She really is insisting that this is not going to happen, that nuclear power will be in the rule book of the United Nations as a green solution for climate change. So there's a lot of work to do, there's a lot of info that we have to give, and this is a picture we made in South Africa. We are, like I say, trying to gather as many people as possible, and so that's what we are doing. And it would be great to share, and it would be great to hear from you if you have any ideas or any suggestions what might be needed and it might be necessary to get even stronger. Thank you.
Bueno, pues muchas gracias, sobre todo a ti por la brevedad. Creo que está siendo el más, con lo cual estupendo. Porque yo creo que este es un tema que da bastante pie al debate. Entonces, yo creo que es el turno de vosotras. Si hay alguna duda, alguna pregunta, levanten la mano. ¿Nadie? Pues parece que les ha quedado muy claro. Por aquí delante, no sé si está solo con el micro. Ah, que echar una mano a alguien con el micro, porfa.
Sí.
Espera, que tiene que subir arriba para abrirte lo que lo tenía él y hasta que no te dé el ok no oyes, no oímos, vamos. No, aquí le tiene José Luis.
Sí, vale. Bueno, primero darle las gracias por venir y explicarnos todo esto. Yo quisiera hacer dos preguntas y una aportación. Una, además del tema de que evidentemente la energía nuclear no es solución para el cambio climático, está la otra vertiente.
Espera. Que que te pille la traducción. Ahora.
Sí. Que además de que la energía nuclear no es la solución para el cambio climático porque también tiene emisiones, está la otra vertiente, que es cómo afecta el cambio climático a la energía nuclear y que hace que tampoco tenga futuro, porque con la elevación del clima el agua se está haciendo más caliente y ya hay un montón de reactores que están teniendo que limitar su funcionamiento porque el agua o hay demasiada poca o está demasiado caliente. Cofrentes mismo, de donde yo vengo, pues en verano suele algunos días tener que bajar potencia por este caso y sé que ha habido casos en la costa atlántica de Estados Unidos y luego indirectamente también se han producido las altas temperaturas y la contaminación producen mareas de algas y de medusas que bloquean las acometidas de agua de las centrales nucleares. Eso ha sucedido en Suecia o en Escocia. Y eso sería un poco de decir, pues las centrales nucleares no solo es que no son soluciones, que no tienen futuro en un mundo de cambio climático. También me gustaría preguntarle una cosa aparte de esto, es sobre el tema en Alemania, porque todos tenemos la imagen de este movimiento antinuclear muy fuerte en Alemania y que estaba ahí bloqueando los trenes que llevaban el combustible gastado a Francia y tal, y últimamente no sale o no nos llega y tal. ¿Qué está ocurriendo? ¿Por qué no seguimos viendo esas imágenes que nos animan tanto?
Good question. To give a very simple answer, it's because there are no transports at the moment. The German government, they set up a whole different new search for a permanent nuclear waste dump, because where I live in Gorleben, it's a salt dome, and it's a very bad salt dome. It was the site was chosen because of political issues. There was a former East and West Germany border, and it's where we live. It's right here. You know, it's like a. And there is a waste dump also on the other side from the East Germans, the former East German country. And now they started all over again. There are no transports anymore at the moment, although there is still nuclear waste in La Hague and in Sellafield also that will come to Germany for sure, maybe next year. Within that, there's a totally confusion started because the former Minister of Environment, Mrs. Hendricks, she promised to us no more nuclear waste to Gorleben, and then it has to be put on other spaces in Germany, but nobody wants it. You know, so there's a big fight going on for a few years now where the waste from La Hague and from Sellafield is going. There are different possibilities because there are sites directly at the nuclear power plants, but most of them are overloaded and there's just no solution. But with this decision, the government calmed down the whole situation, because if there were more transport coming to our place, you would have seen more of those pictures for sure. Well, that's the situation now.
Nada, muchas gracias por la intervención. Una pregunta era sobre Euratom. No sé si Alemania planteó en el Bundestag el abandono de las Euratom y luego, como dijeron que no era posible, tras el Brexit, Inglaterra saldría de la Unión Europea y de Euratom, con lo cual sí que es posible salir de Euratom. Entonces, ¿cómo se replantea en Alemania, tras el Brexit, la posible salida y luego dejar de financiar proyectos inútiles de Euratom? Luego, el tema que has comentado, otro tema es el tema de cuando hay más renovables y se llega al 80%, pues la nuclear, carbón, gas ya no entran. Luego está el tema del cierre del carbón, que se deja a 2038. Y el tema de Gorleben y Hasse 2, cómo se plantea los problemas de las minas, que hay fugas, que hay bidones que están mal, si se planteaba evacuarlos, el geológico reversible, no sé cómo está el trabajo de la comisión que llevaba Jürgen Trittin, ¿no? De qué hacer con los residuos, que es lo que no quedó cerrado del acuerdo del abandono de la nuclear.
No, that wasn't clear. First, Jürgen Trittin, as you mentioned his name, and we go back to the economics, the nuclear waste in Germany was supposed to be taken care of by the companies. And they were supposed to keep 36 billion euro. And then Jürgen Trittin had negotiated with them, and they paid 24 billion euro, and we have to take the rest. This is the situation. So the nuclear waste in Germany is now public waste. Everybody has a little bit and has to pay for it. That's the situation that Jürgen Trittin negotiated with the companies. And as you mentioned, the Asse, it's a nuclear waste facility. It's also an old salt mine. They just threw everything in. That's the way you have to say it. They just threw everything in. Now it's leaking. We have every day there's coming 12 cubic meters water is running in, and nobody knows when and where it comes out. So we want the government to get the waste out, but nobody knows how much it will cost. It's you cannot estimate. It's very hard to estimate that, and so there are different situations that are really worse going on, and the other waste, like I say, the German government started a new search for so they say, a lot more participation of the public, but the situation is now, it's not really working with the participation of the public, as you can imagine, maybe. And so there's a lot of things going on that are very unclear at the moment. For now, they say in fall they want to announce different places in Germany. They're doing research on the geological structure and the ground, and then they will point out new areas. And then we will see what happens. I don't know. I mean, nobody wants it. So there will be more and different resistant types going on.
Bueno, pues entonces yo creo que terminando además puntualmente a las 2, muchísimas gracias a Günter por venir y por contarnos. Yo creo además que esta campaña de Don't Nuke the Climate es una campaña bastante potente, que creo que es una gran oportunidad para los compañeros de aquí de España para que podamos adaptar y difundir, porque me parece fundamental ponernos al día en esta lucha. Y bueno, recordaros que a las 2 comemos donde cenamos el otro día. Quien no tenga ticket puede pedirlos todavía en la recepción y nos volvemos a ver aquí a las 4. ¿Vale? Sí, a las 4. Es que somos muchas y tenemos que escucharnos todas mucho. Así que muchas gracias a todas y muchas gracias a Günter.
Gracias.